I'm Father Chaz Marks, the rector of St. Augustine's Church in Kansas City and the Diocesan Transition Missioner. American music owes a tremendous debt to the composer, arranger, editor, and professional soloist Harry Thacker Burleigh. Burleigh, a lifelong Episcopalian, is responsible for introducing the classical music world to a uniquely American form of music, the spirituals of enslaved African Americans. Burleigh was born in 1866 in Erie, Pennsylvania, and was baptized at St. Paul's Church in that city. Both of his parents were free-born people. His father was a veteran of the United States Navy during the Civil War. His mother worked as a domestic even though she was college-educated and spoke English, French, and Greek. It was Mr. Burleigh's maternal grandfather who taught the young boy the plantation songs he knew from his time as an enslaved person. That and exposure to professional musicians in the home of his mother's employer led Burleigh to his love of music. He sang at school as well as at various churches in Erie during his growing up years. At the age of 26, Burleigh left Erie for New York City in order to study at the National Conservatory of Music. While studying there, Burleigh became acquainted with the great Czech composer Antonin Dvorak, who was serving at that time as the director of the conservatory. Dvorak believed that the songs of the Native Americans and the African Americans could help this nation find its true style of music. Young Mr. Burleigh introduced Dvorak to the spiritual tradition, and some of these songs were even woven into Dvorak's New World Symphony. In 1894, Burleigh was one of the featured soloists at the premiere of Dvorak's arrangement of Stephen Foster's Old Folks at Home, performed at Madison Square Garden. Also in 1894, while studying at the conservatory, Burleigh auditioned to be the baritone soloist at St. George's Episcopal Church, one of the more affluent parishes of the city. As you may imagine at that time, his selection for the post, as a black man in an affluent white church, was seen by some as quite controversial. Some parishioners even threatened to stop attending. J. Pierpont Morgan, a member of the parish and one of the wealthiest people in America at that time, stood firmly behind the choice of Burleigh, and with his support, the controversy disappeared. While later employed as a music editor and known as a published composer, Burleigh continued in his position at St. George's until 1946, 52 years after his arriving there. Harry Thacker Burleigh was the first prominent African-American composer. Much of his original music is written for voice. He composed numerous art songs using the texts of poets like Langston Hughes and Walt Whitman. But his greatest achievement in the world of music was his work arranging many spirituals for solo voice and piano as well as for chorus. These pieces became very popular with classical singers and audiences. They were often and are still often heard on the concert stage. Among his most famous arrangements are Go Down Moses, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Deep River, and Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. While previously these songs were known and loved in many black churches, Burleigh is responsible for introducing them more broadly to the world and helping people to see them as the great musical treasure that they are. His work was recognized by the NAACP in 1917 when they presented him with the Spingarn Medal for excellence in music. He also received an honorary master's degree from Atlanta University and an honorary doctorate of music from Howard University. The author Jean Snyder, in her book Harry Burleigh, From Spiritual to Harlem Renaissance, said this: Burleigh's work helped preserve and transform one of America's earliest contributions to the world of music, the songs that arose out of the suffering of slavery, but give voice to an indomitable human spirit and have engendered some of America's most vibrant musical traditions. Harry T. Burleigh died on September 12, 1949, and is remembered by the Episcopal Church for his life of service to the Church and for the many contributions he made to American music.